Digimon Ghost Game Episode 38 introduced Espimon, a brand new 2022 Digimon that fans have been waiting to see for months now, ever since he was shown to be a new monster on the Ghost Game themed DIM card. Espimon is kind of the unofficial 25th anniversary special Digimon. I don't think they ever called him that formally, but he's being celebrated everywhere from the Vital Bracelet to the manga to the anime. We were wondering, would Espimon's arrival mark the introduction of a fourth Digidestin type character in Ghost Game, a human partner for Espimon? As of Episode 38, it seems that Espimon has no human partner, but there is some weirdness going on with Espimon and at least one human. Espimon claims to know Hiro Amanokawa, but when he meets him, he says, no, you're not Hiro, you two look nothing alike. We'll dive more into whatever the heck that means and talk about the villain of the week, one of Renamon's ultimates that isn't as popular as Taomon, Domon. This is the Digino. Welcome back to the channel. We've been covering Digimon Ghost Game every week since the series started, and we also talk about all things Digimon and related anime any chance we get. If that sounds good, be sure to subscribe. At the top of the episode, a salaryman is confronted by a Digimon that looks a lot like Taomon from Digimon Tamers. Domon, not Taomon. This creature flattens a man like he's 2D and folds him up into a talisman. The next day, Hiro and his dormmate Nomura are attending a summer festival, and Hiro is tasked with playing the young lord in a stage performance. Elsewhere, Domon enacts some kind of spell that causes Hiro to be engulfed in flames while on stage, before vanishing from the stage entirely. The people watching mistake this for some kind of theatrical special effect and start applauding, but Hiro wakes up across town by Domon's side and has a talisman placed on him. Gamamon goes looking for his lost partner and finds Espimon instead, who is also looking for Hiro, and who introduces itself as a wandering Digimon. Super cute voice acting. Espimon is instantly charming. It acts like this real tough guy, but is ultimately like a toy teddy bear. He looks like a keychain you'd win in a Gachapon capsule toy. And speaking of winning, before we go any further, I need to tell you about how you can get yourself roughly $20 US off the anime merch of your dreams via today's sponsor, Buyee. If you've never heard of Buyee,
what's wrong with you?
Buyee is a proxy shipping service, which means they make all kinds of Japanese exclusive merch available to you wherever you are on planet Earth. All of the toys and games I used to see online but knew I could never have growing up in rural Canada, those days are a thing of the past with sites like Buyee, who are letting fans all over the world shop on Amazon storefronts like Rakuten, Mercari, and Amazon JP. You select what you want, then Buyee basically buys it on your behalf and sends it to you wherever you are. So whether you want retro games or new games like Digimon Survive, you want vintage toys, figures from the 90s, or brand new model kits, Buyee is an amazing option for acquiring all of those things. There's even a special offer for viewers of this channel. If you sign up to Buyee for the first time using the link in my description, you're going to be getting a 2,000 yen coupon for your first order. That's around $20 US off an order just for signing up and just for being a fan of this channel. If that doesn't sound like an amazing deal to you, again, I have to ask,
what's wrong with you?
Jokes aside, thanks to Buyee for sponsoring the video. Now back to the discussion. Domon, quote, finally found a vessel after 700 years, and now the Hojo clan can rise again through Hiro as the avatar. Domon folds up another human in front of our eyes. Again, really gross body horror with the way they depict this. For some reason, the way these people have the life almost sucked out of them, it reminded me of Cell's first appearance in Dragon Ball Z, like when all that was left of those townspeople he attacked were the clothes they were wearing before Cell absorbed them. Quote, these are Shikigami. They can be made into portable talismans and will serve as soldiers, Domon explains. Gamamon guilts Espimon into helping by praising how cool and powerful Espimon was after seeing those jet wings in action. It works. Espimon kind of gives in to the praise, which is pretty funny. Gamamon and Espimon call Ruli and Kiyoshiro for backup, but they're way across town. Angoramon thinks to call in a favor from Airdramon, who he recently met through Clockmon. I like that Clockmon's presence is felt even when he's not in an episode. Our first bad guy really reformed and there to remind us what can be possible when we save the enemy of the week instead of writing them off as irredeemable monsters. Airdramon expects humans to worship it like a god. I'm loving the personalities on display with the Digimon this week, first Espimon and then Airdramon, though I expected to see more from Airdramon in the final act of the episode. It didn't happen, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Espimon, the Wanderer, fights off some of the talisman Shikigami, while Gamamon is kind of frozen, not participating and unable to accept Hiro in this possessed state. I don't blame him. I could barely look at Hiro either, mega creepy with that weird altered face, but Espimon theorizes that getting rid of the talisman slapped onto Hiro should revert him back to his former self, and it works. Gamamon is able to evolve into Wezen Gamamon. It's always nice when it's not just the Battle Gamamon route in these later episodes. It's wicked seeing these two techie Digimon, Wezen and Espimon, fighting together using rockets and jetpacks and whatnot. Kano Weissmon is brought out, blowing Espimon's mind, and he attacks Domon with such force that it blasts this sort of white spherical entity right out of Domon, and a voice comes out of the spear claiming it shall return. It's unclear if this was a Digimon possessing Domon. As Domon describes things, it was, quote, shamefully consumed by the vengeful spirits of the Hojo clan resting in this place. It seems to me that the Digimon Domon was legitimately possessed by a human ghost or ghosts. Again, these vengeful spirits of the Hojo clan. Ghost Game has often been ambiguous about its stance and beliefs on whether ghosts and spirits really exist in the world, if everything humans believe to be ghosts are really just Digimon, or if both Digimon and spirits do exist quietly alongside humans. But here in episode 38, it seems like a Digimon was in fact possessed by human spirits who have been dead for 700 years. When the dust settles and things calm down, Espimon sticks around, which is great. He asks Hiro if he knows a guy named Hiro Amanokawa. Hiro of course tries to explain that he's Hiro Amanokawa, and Espimon insists no, that's not true, that this Hiro is not Hiro Amanokawa because those two people don't look anything alike. In the final moments of the episode, Ruli and the gang show up on Airdramon, and I have to be honest, I entirely forgot about them and that they were even coming, so it turns out they were kind of a bust, and as far as I can tell, that B-plot was just an excuse to get Airdramon into Digimon Ghost Game. I'm happy to have seen this Digimon, and again, I liked the ego they gave it, but I'm kind of perplexed that it had absolutely nothing to do in its Ghost Game debut. Maybe this was just its introduction episode and it will become a reoccurring Digimon coming back for future travel. Like anytime we need long distance travel, we can rely on Airdramon, since they emphasized that Airdramon and Ruli got along super well after their initial meeting, even though we didn't get to see them interact at all, basically. And speaking of potentially coming back, it seems like this isn't the last we've seen of Espimon. While no, this Digimon did not get a human partner this week, a fourth Digidestined for Ghost Game, Espimon clearly has some weird loose ends when it said that Hiro isn't Hiro, and that he looks nothing like this other Hiro Amanokawa that Espimon apparently knows. I'm super curious where that goes. I think I saw on With the Will that if the translations for the TV Guide episode listings are to be believed, Espimon is back in episode 40, so 2 weeks from now. Hopefully we get some answers then. I think it was wise to put Espimon in this episode, as without this new Digimon, I'm not so sure this episode would have been all that impactful or memorable, but because of how instantly charming and cool Espimon was, plus the apparent setup of some strange new mystery where someone else is going around identifying as Hiro Amanokawa, and the implication that this wasn't Espimon's only episode, this is now probably an essential Ghost Game episode for people who like to do those, essential playlists for shows. I had a good time with these 22 minutes, and I'm super excited to see more Espimon now. Let me know if after that tease at the end of the episode, do you think we'll only see Espimon one more time to resolve that little mystery, or do you think it'll be like a Clockmon situation where Espimon is around in several more episodes but not really essential to any kind of overarching plot? Let me know what you thought of the episode overall this week, what you're looking forward to next. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for all the birthday wishes last week. That was very kind of you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.